Let me invite you, Hocam, then. Yeah, I think so.
Yep, okay.
Cenk Hoca will come. Is he here?
Hello, Mr. Cenk Hoca.
Oh, man.
What's happening? I'm here. Wow, I'm here. Shit.
Oh, yeah.
What's happening?
Oh, man.
How are you?
It's going good,
How
man.
are you, Mr. Cenk?
How are you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm all right. Not too bad. Not too bad. I was watching your little live stream. Yeah, interesting.
You went open from your channel as well, so we have the people coming in, or it automatically.
Well, I'm opening for my channel.
Oh, so they also come, no?
No, I don't know. Are we?
No.
I thought
not
we was. If you collaborate, we got to collaborate for that to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. We can do that another time. I don't want to force.
Yeah. You have to start from scratch, innit, to do that.
Also improve the setup, because this was like a very last minute decision. Mr. Yurifis was coming on, and we were like, okay, let's just open the live stream, and then happened. It's just very hallederek mentality, but what can you do? Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good that you started something off. Obviously, we've got to try and make it grow, get more people on it, because soon it's going to be a very trending topic as to whatever else is going on in the Middle East. I mean, it's a lot of geopolitical stuff happening right now, which we happen to be right in the heart of it, believe it or not. So there's definitely a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things that needs to be done as well.
True. How is your life in North Cyprus, man? How you feel living there?
I mean,
how you
to
feel
be honest with you, North Cyprus now, when I first came, it was like everything was cheap when you come from England. It was cheap, I sell something in England. If I sell a business in England, if I sell a house in England, I'm here, I'm like a king. I could do so many things, but over the years, especially the last couple of years, it's probably been one of the most expensive places to live on in the world. Life used to be so cheap. From Greek Cypriots used to come over to our side, do shopping, and laugh at the receipts at the end of the supermarket. Now they're coming in and they're thinking, "Whoa, what's happened?" And funny enough, it's like the minimum wage has increased so much here. It's basically on par with the Greek side. So before, you used to have people going over to the Greek side to work for about €1,000. But now they're earning the same amount on the north side, but except the north side is more expensive, which I don't understand. I mean, I really don't understand how this all happened so fast. So fast, it just changed so dramatically. And now I'm contemplating what to do. I mean, I used to have a business that was doing really good. Now the business is taking more money than ever, but unfortunately, life's become more expensive. So the buying power has gone down, even though you're making more money. It's very, very hard to employ people now, because it's like, who's going to pay 60,000 tele to employ somebody, and plus pay their insurance and all that stuff as well. So Cyprus right now has just gone crazy expensive. And everybody that's doing well, that happens to be doing well, they're doing well doing some kind of dodgy stuff, from whether it's laundering money or selling dodgy cars or selling property, jumping on the property bandwagon, which that is drying out now anyway. It's not as what it used to be. So I think the bubble's about to burst, if it hasn't bursted already. And this is the current situation.
I think, I'm quite new to Cyprus. I came to the island for the first time in my life in 2021. I did a 14-day holiday, 7 days in the south, 7 days in the north, for my first time. And what I remember about the north back in 2021 was that I didn't need to worry about my contactless spending. I lived a bit like a king. I'm not going to lie. It was cheaper back then, 2021. Now, my last, I was in Kyrenia a couple of months ago. I sat down at one of the harborside bars for fish and chips, for calamari chips and a pint of beer, did the contactless thing. saw that it took out like 48 euros. It's now 50 quid just for scampi and chips and a beer, like along Kyrenia Harbour. So yeah, it's crazy how things have blown up. And like as a diner, it's cheaper to eat on this side, I think. If you want a nice meal.
You're in Larnaca, right? You're on the Greek side now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my wife, she's going to say hello. This is my wife, Merja. She's from Iran. She hasn't gone to the Greek side yet. We're on the process of doing the paperwork. And I'm telling her right as well now. I'm telling her that, you know, and in the Greek side, there's a lot more variety, and it's actually a lot more economical. And I don't understand. We really shot ourselves in the foot. I don't know what we done in the last few years. I had a friend from school. He's a policeman. His wife's a police as well. They've been coming here for about 6-7 years in a row. Now they said to me last year, we're not going to come to Cyprus no more because, not to the north anyway, because it's just gone too expensive. Yeah, I don't know how this happened right now, and a lot of young people, they just want to run away from Cyprus. They just want to get out completely because setting up a house and starting a life here, it's basically impossible because before, back in the days, you had parents and families that used to help you. It was relatively cheap to get land, or most of it was given, and it was relatively cheap to build a one-floor bungalow. You know, it was all nice, but now it's like it's become a joke just to try and buy a studio flat with all these big apartments that are coming up in the middle of a freaking desert. In the middle of a desert, they're bringing apartments everywhere. And, you know, when I go to the south side, we go to Paralimi, you don't see no freaking like high-rise buildings everywhere. You could see that it was a planned construction with infrastructure. Everything was planned and done. But now we've got apartments growing up in deserts, right in the middle of riverbeds, right on sand, and it's like, well, how long is this gonna last? This is a kind of like Dubai from Timor. Do you know what I mean? And yeah. I'm thinking there's a lot of greed going on in this island right now. A lot of greed going on in this island. Like I said, you know, a lot of people out here, they're driving flashy cars. You know, I mean, you're having brand new Mercedes and G-Wagons is the norm. You see the odd few Lambos here and there as well. But unfortunately, the roads are like Afghanistan. I'm talking post-war Afghanistan when it's still freaking blown up. Potholes everywhere, but yet people are driving Ferraris and Lambos. I don't get it. You know, it's just a joke. And it just goes to show it's gangster's paradise. Yeah, play the music and gangster's paradise. Friggin', it's full of casinos, full of whorehouses, and full of dodgy universities where people are doing all kinds of dodgy shit just to get like student visas and stay here. It's just crazy. I don't get it. It's just one big pirate island. You know what I mean? Korsanların adası. They call it the land of the pirates.
Aman hocam, don't say like this. We are eşit, egemen, we are equal, we are big, powerful, empire of TRNC.
Yeah, of course we are. And pigs can fly as well.
I wish, man. That's
the situation right now. I mean, we desperately need. I used to be on the right side because my father being a Temete, and you know, I'm always had these conservative values, but usually as a whole, I've always been straight down in the middle. Like there are things I like in the left, there are things I like in the right, but I've always been a kind of middle guy. Never to. But after seeing all this stuff, I'm thinking that Cyprus badly needs some kind of solution, because right now what is happening is like this is becoming Turkey's politicians' backyard, the mafia's backyard. Mm-hmm. You know, this is what people are just coming in here. You know, and it's like, you know, our own home has become their backyard. And is this what they call liberation? Did they come to liberate us? Did they come to rescue us? Or did they come to basically do as they tell us? And that's what it seems like.
Tim or Doruk?
Sound has gone off.
Yeah, sorry. I 100% agree. I just want to say that a couple of things, and you've pointed out everything: the money laundering, the black market in Cyprus. There's also another aspect: is we're selling land to outsiders from Turkey, from Israel, from Russia, and Ukrainians, and that means that the demand is really high, technically, more than our population, more than the island can actually sustain. That's why it suddenly became so expensive to make a house. And before they were telling our generations, come babam, I'll build you a house and you'll stay in Cyprus next to us. Now our parents are saying, go away to Europe, save your life, go get an education, like live your life in Europe, anywhere in the world, don't come back, kind of a thing, which is so sad to see. Like there's a very parental, not just parental force, but literally a parental push towards the younger generation to leave the island, save yourself, kind of an ideology, which is so sad. Really sad.
I'm not going to lie, I say the same thing to my kids. One of my sons is studying in Bournemouth, studying to be a chiropractor. And, I said to him, if you could just sort yourself out there and try and develop yourself and try and get as far as you can out there, you could think of this place as some kind of a retirement place in the future. But I don't really see no hope for him. I don't see no hope. A lot of businesses are just going down. One by one, they're just going down, down, down. People can't afford to pay the rent for the business. It's just like astronomical prices in sterling. And then you got the tax man to deal with as well. And then you got that kind of stuff. And like, there's queues of thousands of people that the tax office are on, they're on their case. And it's just so many people are struggling. So many businesses are struggling that at the moment, people are just trying to kick the can down as far as they can.
Yeah. I definitely 100% agree, which is a shame that I'm talking about Turkish Cypriots. I hope that no Greek Cypriot gets offended, but the community who faced war, challenges, discrimination, building a nation, etc. So many pain and suffering, and then this is what comes to the next generation is forced to leave the island, lack of opportunities, lack of living. Is this the reward of having your own government, so-called independent state? Is this it? Your people, your children, your grandchildren leaving the island? It's always bothered me so much.
Yeah, I mean, we desperately need something to happen here, and pretty fast as well. Otherwise, I'll tell you what, Turkish Cypriots, there will be no Turkish Cypriots here in about 30, 40 years' time. We'll be completely assimilated and finished, basically. Whereas I see myself as one of the last Mohegans, I mean, even my kids, they're kind of mixed, and their kids are going to be mixed with God knows what else. And I think that we're basically like an endangered species. And if you look at countries that got endangered species, like look at the Maltese, they have special European Union rights. Because, you can have only X amount of people coming in here and buying land or doing this and that, even though they're a European country. Because we are an endangered species. That's what we are. But, the Turks and the nationalists, right, they are quite okay for us to be assimilated into them. And now you've got a lot of these laundress Turks with their ultra-nationalist kind of views, which they're using as some kind of defense mechanism against English people and whatnot over there. So they're just trying, and also other foreign people, they're kind of like trying to use Islam as part of their Turkish nationalism. And this is where the problems are going. It's like, you have people from London coming out here to live, and they got different kinds of mindsets. And there's no true Cypriot mindset left. And this is what we need to somehow preserve, I mean, when I first came here, there was like local Cypriot restaurants selling Cypriot foods and stuff like that, but there's nothing like that anymore. I mean, we've literally become Turkified in some parts, and even some parts is a mini Russia or a mini Iran as well.
What I want to ask you guys, because you've all lived in the north for like a substantially long time. It's all been a part of your life. Less so with me. I'm just a visitor, basically. But when we look at Turkish Cypriot history, 2011, biggest Turkish Cypriot protests of all time. It's got its own Wikipedia page. 50,000 to 80,000 people turned up. Some of the protesters who were right at the front of the march were carrying Cyprus flags and European Union flags, and they took them straight outside the Turkish embassy. Some of the placards were saying that this is an Extinction Rebellion protest. So, you know, Turkish Cypriots were being very clear about their issues with Turkey. And now when we look at where it looks to me like the spirit of resistance that organizes and collects Turkish Cypriot people to protest has just completely been pummeled. Like what's the last protest we had? We had the protest where the Turkish Cypriots, they wanted to be able to stop girls from wearing hijabs in school because Turkey wanted to push through a law. We had 10,000 people essentially, you know, pulling themselves around that specific cause. But Turkey's done way more fucked up things to us than try and impose hijab laws. Turkey...
Well, yeah, they have. I mean, what it is, right? This is how it is. I'll be honest with you. When it suits them, they're trying to paint an Islamic righteous, self-righteous kind of like way of living. Like, oh yeah, we're Muslims and we're good people and we're this and we gotta go up old traditions and blah, 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 blah. But yet it's the same people that are pimping out women out here, that are running the casinos, taking the casinos' monies and laundering the land as well, clearing out the money through the land sales and the car sales, you know, and you know, I mean, I was in a casino about 6-7 months ago with a well-known influencer friend as well, and I saw a couple of women in hijabs gambling big money on the machines, and I thought to myself, oh, isn't it ironic? You know, how funny. It's we're living in a land of hypocrisy. Their political Islam that they're portraying, they are not good Muslims by any means. They just try to show themselves what they are. Yeah, that's why you got a lot of mafia guys that go to the mosque every Fridays. You know, they do all kinds of what's the word, man? Loan sharking and all this other stuff. But they will do all this haram stuff that's haram in Islam, but they're always in the mosque every Friday. And this is the new political Islam that Turkey's bringing, unfortunately, mixed with mafia stuff.
I have a question.
Huh?
I have a question, but I hope you don't bother. Because like when you turn like this side, I saw some kind of tattoo on your like here.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the Turkic alphabet, right? When you were like more Turkish nationalist, right? Back then.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's the question?
Would you do some kind of tattoo about Cyprus? Like Anasa, like Tim knows. Anasa was like our goddess kind of thing before Christianity and stuff. For example, it's just an example.
Who's the goddess of love? Who's the goddess of love?
Aphrodite.
So Aphrodite, according to the tourist brochures, Aphrodite is the goddess of Cyprus. But she was never known as Aphrodite. Even when the first Greeks came, there was already a goddess here. And the first Greeks called her Anasa, which means the queen. And for hundreds of years, the native Cypriot population, they had either their own name for her or they called her Anasa. And then after the Greeks conquered, because before like 350 BC, the Greeks never actually conquered. They just come and settle and colonize, take part in the copper trade, but there was no Greek control. Greek control was established in 350 BC, and then they imposed Aphrodite on the people. But there was a native goddess. She's got nothing to do with Greece. She was born from the natives' imaginations. And, actually, I believe that this is her in her most premature form.
For some reason,
I mean, I believe. I make you right there. I know that. You know, I know that the Greeks, they're not the original indigenous people in Cyprus. Yeah. You know, that's plain and obvious. You know, I'm not saying that the Greek Cypriots don't carry indigenous blood, but what I'm saying is neither Greeks or Turks are the indigenous people of this country. I mean, we probably carry indigenous DNA in us, but as a nationality, these are all just like invaders, if you like. you know. But having
course.
said that, I mean, there's another thing that really kind of like raises eyebrows is you see all these hotels that they make, all these hotels that are made like Artemis and Kratos and all these. These are all, the owners are all like Turkish nationalists, but yet they are calling their own hotels with Greek names, which kind of just sounds funny again. You know, there's so many hotels like that with Greek names, you know, owned by proper Turkish nationalist people, elites in Turkey, which is funny. Alexis, another one, you know. That's a part of Erdogan's family's got some kind of, his son-in-law's got some kind of, what do you call it, deeds or something in that.
Concord is Emine Erdogan is a shareholder, Erdogan's wife.
Yeah, and then Alexis is something to do with his son or son-in-law or something. But yeah, they have got a lot of money here, not just here, also in Qatar and other places as well. But yeah, funny enough that they use Greek names, which, you know, it just kind of like makes me laugh a little bit. So I just thought I'd point that out.
No, that's actually a really good point. It's ironic. It's just ironic. And yeah, I can talk about more, but I don't really want to get into too deep politics. But it's just, I think the Turkish Cypriot life is a Greek tragedy. You know, what Plato used to write and Aristotle used to write, it's just pure tragedy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a tragedy. Unfortunately, the problem with this island is, okay, it's at the most geopolitical hotspot in the world. It's basically the biggest warship, the most, you know, that you got in the Middle East. You know, so it's such a critical point. Yeah, this is another reason why, you know, it's down in we are at Turkey's mercy, basically. You know, whatever we want, whatever we need, whatever we want, yeah, we're at the mercy of Turkey. And you know, the only way that they'll let go is if they get a big offer with NATO, with America, with the EU combining and giving them something that they can't. There's something too good for them to turn down. Because let's be honest with you, they never were here. I said this, I made a video about this before. They never were here in the interest of saving Turkish Cypriots. If they were here in the interest of saving Turkish Cypriots, they would have done that between 1963 and before 1974, when so many were getting slaughtered and massacred. They only decided to come in here when the Greek junta decided to come in here, just so Greece doesn't have another border on their doorstep. That's what they claimed. It was for their own geopolitical reasons. It had nothing to do with Turkish Cypriots. I mean, I don't believe that for one bit.
I have to stop and challenge there, because I do agree with you to an extent, but I also think that they were there in our interest, because July 15th, Nikos Samson is appointed. He says he'll kill any leftist and Turk that gets in between him and Enosis.
Yeah.
2/3 of the Turkish villages were occupied by Greek forces. At this point, in those 5 days, it looked like a real threat of genocide.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, right? The genocide that really happened, the killings that started happening is when, to start off with, this is a very, very small percentage of the Greek Cypriots that actually did this. Extremely small amount of Greek Cypriots that did this. And what we've done, despite we are the lower population, we've actually murdered more than they did to us, you know. And when Turkey came, they were ruthless. They were like raping women and they were doing all kinds of stuff. And they were taking prisoners apparently to Antalya, I don't know, somewhere, and those prisoners never coming back. So when it comes to war atrocities, yes, the Greeks did something very terrible, but we got the capabilities to do something much, much more terrible than they can ever imagine, and we do that. And we've done that quite regular. When it comes to the Cyprus problem, I'm always going to blame, not the Turks, I'm going to blame the English for it. Because England done exactly what they do all the time, divide and conquer, yeah? When they didn't give Turkey back to, when they didn't give Cyprus back to the Turks because of the First World War stuff that happened, and they annexed Cyprus. You know, Greeks obviously wanted to be independent. They thought England won't stick around for long. So they started protesting and making little terrorist things to get rid of, Aoka was there to get rid of the English. And the English didn't like it, so they started employing Turkish Cypriot peasants, shepherds, to become police officers. So they can stop and search every Greek person coming through because of the Aoka crisis. And when this happened, this stirred up a lot of animosity and tension among the population. Do you get what I'm saying? And this is what caused the actual spark. This, and also the right wing in Turkey trying to ignite at the same time, the English trying to stir shit at the same time, and at the same time, the Greek with their far-right nationalist elements as well was just basically a recipe for disaster. But if I have to come to the core of the problem, it was definitely the English that started this off, and it triggered off, you know, and there's so many situations, even in Turkish families, that happen like this. They started what we call a kan davası, you know, and this happens in Turkey regularly, even happened in England. You know, where I grew up in London, we had the Tottenham boys and Hackney Bombers. All of a sudden, just one incident kicked up an over 20-year war. You know what I mean? And this is what happened with us as well. We just started over something stupid, and I'm going to blame the English for it. I'm sorry. You know, and also the Turkish nationalists and also the Greek nationalists for chipping in, finding an opportunity. Greeks finding an opportunity for enosis, and the Turks finding an opportunity to split the island in complete. And then most of the people, they just wanted to live together and be happy and live together. That's how it was. Like 80% of the population on both sides, they were happy. They never had no problems with each other whatsoever. And it's a sad situation that we always fall into the outsiders. The outsiders are the people that keep doing this to us, and it's always been the case. That's the bad thing about, you know, living in a small island and being island people. We always seems to be getting. Anyway, I'm not going to use that word, but you know what I'm saying.
I couldn't put this better myself. This was like crash course Cyprus problem, very fast by Cenk Hoca, really good, really well, like very logical, objective, clean. Amazing, bravo.
I mean, when you grow up older, I mean, because I've been a Muslim, a serious Muslim, I've been a nationalist, I've been everything. I've been through on a crazy train ride. And as you get older and you come like this and you start thinking, all right, man, all right, well, now it's time to be older and wiser. It's time to be honest with yourself. Because if we're not honest with each other, okay, and honest with ourselves, then we're never going to find the root of the problem. We're never going to get to the problem. It's always going to be egos attacking each other. And we need to break away from this. And that's how you live in peace. That's how you become a civilized human being. By being objective and understanding that, yes, they've got faults, but yes, we have our faults too.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. I agree with that. And we need to look towards the future and we need to have a solution, because the solution we need, like what the solution represents for me at least, it's a mass reset. We will reset everything. We will reset the Greek Cypriot government. We will reset our government, abolish the corruption, abolish the black market, allow EU institutions to come and independently look at the institutions that we are going to build and restart from scratch. Like nothing ever happened. None of this dirty money laundering, prostitution rings, sex trafficking, etc. happened. Nothing happened between us, the communities. Let's start again. Let's rebuild a nation. Let's continue living like a normal citizen of the world. That is what normal citizen of the West, I guess. You know, that's my very simple logic and simple argument towards peace and unity and unification.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of hard work, and it's gonna take a lot of convincing. And this is where we use our social media, because I mean, I know that social media is definitely a very, very powerful tool, especially if you got even if you don't have such a big platform, things can just spread like an avalanche. Yeah, and it's all about, you know, sharing information and talking and dialogue. And the more dialogue we have, the more young people that we get on our side. Okay, because the young people, they're the future, don't forget. You know, a lot of these older people, I mean, they're going to be all gone, and me included. So my hope is in the youngsters. And if these youngsters keep leaving, then what? Then we don't really have a future, do we? So we need to start speaking and start making a change. Like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
I again 100% agree. As a young person, I'm doing my PhD in the UK right now. I'm an engineer, but there's no future in engineering for me in Cyprus.
No.
Not both of the sides. And if there's a slight chance of me coming back, it's probably going to be me trying to do engineering job in the Republic of Cyprus if they have a good engineering company. That's it, you know. And I think the change starts from the people. I think the people for both communities need to start pressuring their own governments, their own politicians, their own institutions to make massive investments changes. For example, right now, I'm just going to talk about my personal experience, nothing really political, but just an experience. If I want to start a company in Northern Cyprus now, I have to compete with Turkey because they're outsourcing a lot of things. For example, the software that they're using in the supermarkets are from Turkey, and it's forced by the TRNC government because Turkey uses the same software. However, when I went to the institution, I said, you know, okay, give me the job, let's rebuild the software from scratch, let's build a TRNC supermarket software that can track all of the goods in and out. They said, no, we're going to outsource it from Turkey, and that was like a red flag for me. I was like, okay, what's going on? You know, why I'm a Turkish Cypriot, I'm here, I can do it. Why am I not getting this job? And why am I competing against Turkey and Turkish institutions? Same as coffee shops as well right now, what I've seen, there's multiple mega coffee shops coming to the island, mega supermarkets coming to the island, mega goods, for example. I know that Coop had to drop down the number of juices they had because they can't compete with Pınar and other Tamek and etc., whatever they left. So, but Coop is our farmers' drink. We're producing it. Like, what's happening here? Why can't we compete with it? I know that Efsu has to compete with Saka, Pınar, and so much more water, Nestle, etc. I think there's a big problem going on here because a small population with minimal production capabilities is competing with a 90 million population mega factory. Like historically really well in producing stuff, from their own cars to their own televisions, etc. We have to, at least in Northern Cyprus, we have to restructure everything for the young generations. Not for myself, because I think our generation is done, but for the future, for my children. If I ever want to come back to the island, there has to be big changes by the government. Give us a chance to compete.
I mean, well, like I said, I mean, Turkey seems to be the one that's holding all the cards at the moment. And in order for that to happen, you need to put pressure on European Union, America, NATO, all of that. And with America, you just don't know. Even with Trump, you don't know where we really stand. We don't know where Turkey stands with him. Are they a friend? Are they an ally? Are they an enemy? Are they what? Are they just like, so we don't really know what's going on. And I mean, we could speculate, but we need to sort it out. We need to sort it out. The big people, they need to sort it out and give us a chance. Otherwise, if Turkey, Turkey needs to have an offer that they can't refuse, basically.
Well, as the other lads know, from following me for a long time, I think the offer has already been made, and I think we're seeing some subtle signs in the right direction, and we will just know in the coming months whether I'm interpreting this.
Yeah, I mean, I get that feeling as well. I get that feeling that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that, well, I mean, we could speculate, but you could obviously see something's happening. And I could see that, the reason that they hang on to Baroshak, the closed ghost city, the reason they hold on to that for so long, because that was obviously part of the bargaining as well. Turkey's military and everything else is part of the bargaining. Who knows? Maybe these F-35s or whatever they're offering Turkey, maybe this has all got something to do with the bargaining as well, because they're giving Turkey things that they would never give before. So, there's definitely something going on.
Yeah.
Would you, because you have a very balanced opinion, you have a right-wing background, a conservative background, a religious background, and now you have a different background, a different opinion. What would it take for you back in the day to convince you to vote for a unification, a peace, a different political party than UBP, for example? What would it take?
I think the main thing is was security with Rauf Denktash and even my parents as well, right? They made us like feared for our lives. Basically, that if the Greeks come in here, they're gonna start killing us if the Turkish soldiers leave and blah blah blah. And whenever I go to the Greek side, now my children go to the Greek side by their own. My mum starts throwing a fit. She starts getting paranoid. They're like, Mom, they're going to the Greek side. You know, something might happen to them. They might, you know, you don't trust these Greeks. They might kill you. They might do something. Blah, 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 blah. But as you can see, Tim lives on the Greek side, doesn't he? You know, you live in Larnaca, so you seem to be doing all right. But no, having said that, I already had 2 assassination attempts. Bert knows about it in Cyprus, and they weren't by Greeks. They were by Turks. They were about the people that are supposed to be my own brothers. You know, they tried to kill me twice. And
Oh my gosh.
you know, so you know,
What a
so much for brotherhood.
Did you file a police complaint? And if you did, have they done anything about it?
Man, there's about 16 people that are in prison right now. If you Google on the news, you'll see there's 2 different occasions. There's 2 different scenarios. But the small newspapers have been publishing it, you know. The bigger media just kind of like, they kind of like wanted to sweep it under the carpet for some reason. For some reason, they wanted it kept swept under the carpet. Because it might go against their agenda.
Yeah.
You know?
Emir Büyüker'den. The order is up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was the case. It was the case with the headscarf situation and then and other stuff as well. They just like, yeah. So,
to be honest with you, I don't know what will happen to us when we're talking like this. Yeah, we're Cypriot, but I don't know if they will also like open a case to us because I don't trust what's going on in TRNC because we unfortunately copy what's going on in other country, you know.
I mean, in Turkey, as you know, in Turkey, so many journalists and oppositions are getting put in prison. Even YouTubers, some of my YouTube colleagues have been in prison, like for stupid things on just by doing something on YouTube, like Testo Thailand and Kadir Hoca, which I know them both personally, and you know, there's been and it's like kind of worrying like that. This kind of coming slowly. They're trying to bring. Like in Cyprus, they're trying to stop our freedom of speech in Cyprus as well. I don't know.
They told, I think a couple of years ago, it was one of the campaigns. They said, "Türkiye'de ne varsa size de getirecek." That was a slogan. That was the campaign. It was so funny, and they did, by the way, everything.
Thanks.
Well, they're trying.
Awesome.
They're trying their best. I mean, they're trying their best. I mean, putting all these mosques in every village, which already had mosques before, all right, is not anything to do that people need somewhere to go and pray. It's basically a symbol to say that, yes, we are here and we are not going nowhere. It's basically the Turkification of North Cyprus. A lot of Cypriot villages that they don't get up in the morning to pray for the exam. Not even 1% of them get up to pray for the Azan, get the Azan blasted 5 o'clock in the morning, full blast, and they wake up and then they go back to sleep again. You know, and all these extra things. This is all just part to do with changing the geographics. And they're still trying to do that to this day.
Well, I mean, okay, so we're always worried about assimilation going from one way, Cypriots being assimilated into Turkey. Do you guys know, like, having known people from the north, grown up with people from the north, are there lots of stories of Turkish people assimilating to Cypriot culture, speaking like us, looking like us?
Very little. Speaking, yes.
The settlers from
But-
1974 have assimilated. The only successful assimilation politics happened between 1974 and 1983. The 1983 wave, where Denktaş said, "Okay, guys, we need to import mass Turkish workforce to the island so that we can equalize our population and demand our right." That generation, because they were mass deportation, they formed their own ghettos in their own villages. So it was very hard for us to assimilate them. And then the pressure started with AKP of changing the education system. So you couldn't touch the education system. You couldn't introduce Cyprus history, Cyprus dialect, Cyprus culture living. We had to change our own education system to match the Turkish education system. And then the assimilation started for us, not for them. So there is a generation that is like, they feel Cypriot, they're settlers, but they feel Cypriot, they act Cypriot.
Actually, it's the kids. It's like my ex-wife. She speaks more of like a Cypriot and whatnot. It's the kids, the ones that were born, say, you know, in the early 80s. They were born in the 80s and then they grew up here. They kind of like mixed up a little bit. But even now, it's kind of like, it's kind of changing as, I don't know, you're getting more and more Turkish people coming in here. You're getting more and more mixed marriages. Obviously, when it comes to media and television and stuff like that, we're all watching Turkish stuff. A lot of Cypriot kids are learning in Turkey. They're going to university in Turkey. So we are being a little bit somewhat Turkified. But having said that, the same thing could be said about South Cyprus with the Greeks as well. The educated people, they're just speaking a little bit more different, that their dialect sounds a little bit more closer to Greece. That's because of they go study in Athens and whatnot and stuff like that.
Plus, I mean, the idea of Cyprus being a Greek island pulls in a lot of tourist money. I see like there's lots of restaurants that specifically present food from Greece. And it's all just for tourist coin. The biggest example I can give you is Greek Cypriots kebab and the Greece kebab, the souvlaki, right? So you know when you get a Greek souvlaki, it comes in the little round flatbread. That's the one from Greece.
That's it. You're talking about the gyros, isn't it? The gyros, the doner kebab.
Yeah, the gyros and the souvlaki. Shish doner.
Well, the souvlaki is a little bit different to shish kebab because it's kind of like in big skewers and they kind of like, it's more slow cooked. But yeah.
I mean, so when I first moved here, I went to a local newsagent and I asked him, "Can you recommend a kebab place?" And he said, "Go to Prodromos, because he's the only one who does it Cyprus style. The rest of the places are all turning Greek."
Right.
I've eaten a few kebabs now, and I've worked out the difference. Basically, the Cypriot kebab is with the pita that you stuff, like the Turkish one.
There's Cyprus pide, Cyprus pide, they call it in Turkey. They call it Cyprus pide.
Exactly. And often it can come with jajik, but a lot of the times it comes with tahini. Whereas the souvlaki from Greece doesn't come in the Cyprus pide. It comes in the yellow, the round.
The round one. Yeah. Which is a little bit similar in certain parts of Turkey. They have that.
But also, so outside of the kebab chat, like smashing plates is something that they do in the restaurants for the tourists. Now, most Greek Cypriots, from the colonial era, Greek Cypriots were quite like a working class population. I've spoken to a Greek Cypriot grandma. She said that's not a part of our culture. We could never afford smashing plates on this island.
That's right.
But that's something that they put on for the tourists to convince them that they're getting this authentic Greek experience. So yeah, the assimilation works.
I mean, that was something that the Greek, the people in a higher echelon used to do. The elites used to do that more, smashing plates. The rich people used to do that, I believe.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it's always been, is that the elites have assimilated voluntarily to the motherland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true. But you said about, like, I think Tim said, the Turkish settlers being, if they're being assimilated or something. I don't know. I mean, I saw even from the new generation, and me and Doruk, we talk with some folklore, dance clubs, dance places, institutions, where most of them are Turkish settlers, and they're getting they're doing culture and they're like integrating, and that's amazing, Well, I'm not against for, like, you know, let's say you're from Congo, you come here, you work, and you want to keep your religion and your culture preserved, you can, 100%, no problem. Yeah, we also do not have any problem with you keeping your culture and religion, guys. We're just saying the excessive amount of, for example, we said, like, spend taxpayers' money on buildings that we do not need, like Cenk Hoca given an example, right? The culture and religious buildings that we do not need, and it's not belong to here, and we are spending that money where we could have spent it to, for example, making a hospital in Omorfo or somewhere. But I heard that, I think, every time we were asking money from Turkey, they also ask something in return. Isn't that correct, Doruk?
Yes, there's
What
we call protocols, and we have to sign protocols, and I read a couple of them, and it's always the case of, okay, we're going to give you 40 million Turkish lira, but the company needs to be from Ankara, and it has to be, and then you have to do this for us. For example, back in the 8th protocol, because we signed 9th protocol, I don't know the number right now, but back in the 8th protocol, it was supposed to be, you have to give leeway in the judiciary department, and UBP was trying to run that through the judiciary public department, changing the laws, etc., for the 40 million. Also, yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, the protocols are there, but I can say so many controversial stuff, but the one recently came to my mind is, actually, okay, I won't say it just because I'm a bit scared. But yeah, coming back to the cultural thing, and you said if you're from Congo, you want to keep your religion culture. I'm totally fine with it, but you need to assimilate within the Turkish Cypriot, and unfortunately, the Turkish Cypriot culture is a very similar to the British culture, because we've been assimilated by the British way of living, which is a little bit more quiet, a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more publicly aware. I think that's very important. And recently, a YouTuber called Mouflon Masası had an experience where he was walking down, I believe Mackenzie, but you have to fact check.
He's a very good friend of mine, by the way. He's a very close friend of mine.
That's very good. And he was walking down with his girlfriend, and he got verbally, I believe, assaulted, if that's the correct words.
Yes.
And I went to the comment section for multiple newspapers, and there's always Cypriots fighting with Turkish people, because the Cypriots are saying, "Oh, this didn't exist. This isn't our culture. We don't stand on banks. We don't get drunk outside. We go to a bar places like a pub, and we drink there, and then we drive home." And we stay in our homes. We don't do violent drunk versions. We don't catcall people. We don't sit in benches and drink, or sit in the benches and eat. Çekirdek, and then throw the çekirdek. Yeah. This is not our culture. And I believe
that's too much.
As a Cypriot, as a Turkish Cypriot, it's my right for you to obey my lifestyle. And if we are an independent republic and we have our own constitution and laws, there has to be measures placed for in the education system, especially in the university education system. We have 130,000 registered students. There has to be compulsory lessons called Integrating to Turkish Cypriot Society, where it's like a 2 or 3 module lessons, 2 or 3 1-hour lessons, where we just say, hey man, don't catcall, respect women, don't eat çekirdek, and don't throw them outside, don't throw your trash outside, don't do that.
Civilization.
Man, that's another issue that we need to seriously do something about. I mean, I made a YouTube video about a month ago about when I went to Karpaz, went to this beach called Golden Sands or something. Was it called Golden Sands? It's like one of the highest rated beaches in the world, and they just turned it into a rubbish dump. Obviously it's not Cypriots that's doing this. When I went over there, I saw people from Turkey, people from Pakistan, and all these other kind of backwater places. And they're all just eating picnics there and just throwing all the stuff on the floor. And you see, if they were to do something and bring a law about littering in this country, where, say, like, if you get caught, it's 1 month's, minimum wage that you have to pay. Watch how clean this place comes. And you could even do, like, people, instead of throwing them in jail, give them community service as well, where they just clean up. What happened to community service? You know, what happened to fines that you can't come to our country and just dump your garbage, like the Americans say, on the frigging beaches and on the damn fields? You know, it's crazy. And we need to do something about it. You can't do this in Singapore or in Japan. That's why it's so you can't even throw a cigarette on the floor. Yeah, even in Dubai.
Yeah.
You know, we need to, and this will be another good source of income as well. And it will also teach the people, all right, about our culture. We are not a littering people, you know. But there you go.
No.
That's another topic altogether.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They were trying to teach me the civilization and everything. You know, when me and my partner, we were in the Kyrenia, we're just sitting, okay, near to a jami, but not next to it, near. It was like a walking way. One person from Turkey, let's say one Deyze, auntie, saw me, and she approached, and she said, all of the earthquakes, all of the bad things in the world is happening because you guys are hugging. Not, we're just like this, like this, like sitting like this, you know. My hand was on the shoulder, and it's like this, and they were trying to educate me in something with their very, like, weird understanding of world. So I get up and say, hey, look, I understand you're here, but I don't think you should be here. You can go back to your country or to Afghanistan or somewhere else, because I don't think you, at this point, you don't deserve respect since you're disrespecting me. And there were like Cypriot couples passing, and they were like, woohoo, we are supporting you, gençler. I mean, thank you, but I wish you also joined the conversation and scared so that there will be a public humiliation, because public humiliation is a great tool to make people think twice before doing something. All right, it's not about religion, it's not about something. It's like, you're in my country and you're trying to do these things to me. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are many experiences similar to this with other Cypriot people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they want to blame the earthquakes and stuff on us, man. Well, if that's the case, why aren't these earthquakes happening in Western Europe, and why does it happen to be happening in all these places like Turkey and all these other shitholes? Excuse my French. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's it.
It's just not a logical argument. I don't know. When I say, like, I hope the diaspora, like not diaspora, sorry, the Turkish settlers here will assimilate once we reunite and some time passes. They told me, I think Doruk and some of our other friends actually opposed me, and they said, no, look at Germany, look at other even more developed countries. Do they assimilate? I'll say, So I have doubts as well. They kind of convinced me that we're not that, like, saved in that situation. Yeah, I don't know what the future brings, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there was a big cultural war going on in the whole world right now, especially in America, with the so-called liberal left and the so-called conservative Christians, if you like. There's a big problem going on. There's a big brainwashing scheme going on in this whole world, and let's just see where it's going to end. But yeah, we are in a now new era where there's AI, artificial intelligence, and that itself is leading us to somewhere else. And I don't know where this road's going to end at the end of the day, but we're riding right now. Let's see.
Yeah. If anyone have anything to say, they can
Yeah,
go.
man.
If not,
Yeah.
close it.
It's been good anyway, man. It's been good talking. It was basically a surprise. I've just thought I'd come and say hello, and I just ended up being in the damn video. But yeah, it was all right. Next time we can plan something out and do something proper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us and talking with us. I think you said amazing stuff and very valuable stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for your insight.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us, man. Thanks for having us. All right, man. Take it easy. See you guys later.
Nice day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
I think it's just nobody's.
I think what he said is the truth. Nothing but the truth. I mean, very very objective way. And everything is defendable, and you're not going to jail. We're not going to jail, and if we are going to jail, then it just proves the point that Cyprus has become a mini Turkey.
We're not going to jail for saying the Turkish army committed massacres in Cyprus. Şener Levent said it. Sevgül Uludağ said it. Like so many of our people say it.
Şener Levent got gunned down, tried to be bombed. They tried to bomb him, tried to burn down his house and his office. Şener Levent, not a good example. Please.
Yeah, you just got to look over your back a bit more. It's fine.
Yes, definitely. Yes, 10,000 people at the back of my. Okay, anyway, to be a little bit more professional, and I would like to extend my gratitude towards the two guests that came on. We saw Cenk, Hoca, a Turkish Cypriot perspective. We saw Euphorius, a Greek Cypriot perspective, and I think it's very important because they're both older than us and both older than our generation, obviously, and we got a more detailed perspective and what the older generation got to experience and how they shaped the views of each side. I think this was a very entertaining one.
Yeah.
I hope to edit this and make it a little bit better video in terms of quality and standards so that it can match and mix and match. I think
Sure.
we weren't organized because we didn't expect the guests, but we would like to thank everyone and thank Cenk Hoca and Euphorius, Mr. Euphorius. I can't pronounce his name. I'm so sorry about it. Thank you very much for everyone for watching us, and we hope to see you next time. Hopefully, if you're live. Yeah.
Bye bye.